All right, welcome students to our last lesson, lesson 15, in 3 parts. We're going to talk about the first part right now. Lesson 15, I'm going to call it saving the best for last. Exponential and logarithmic functions. There's a lot that you could do with this information, but you can't do it unless you understand it and work through the problems. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, if you look at your task list for the first section, exponential functions. Now, if I scroll up a little bit, or well, maybe I should just put that down there, okay? Exponential functions. This is for lesson 15.1. Now, let me scroll up. No, that's okay. Sorry about that. All right, so let's take a look here at, you have all these items, the advanced organizer, your assignments, evaluating, graphs. You have this video, which is a very good video. You've got another video, a little more reading, compound interest, a video here at the end, and then you have your quiz. So these are the items on the task list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 11 of those. And so we'll get to talk about these. So here we go. Okay, so again, we're talking about expressions and equations that are exponential in nature. We're going to save the logarithmic to later. Also, we're going to talk about e. E is a very important number, like pi is an important number in mathematics. We're going to talk about e as well. Now, so here are your basic outcomes. So we want you to understand what makes an exponential function an exponential function. That's the x is located in the power position. We could graph. We could manipulate the graphs. We could solve exponential equations. And I'll show you just some simple examples, and then I'll have a video on that to expand upon that. Exponential growth and decay problems, very good application of these ideas. Compound interest is a very, very powerful part of this particular section as well. Okay, you remember, complete the readings, do the exercises, and then of course you have your watching the videos and then your discussion and quiz. Also, a little reminder, when you scroll up to go back through these tasks, you may want to just, in 15.1, just click on here, exponential functions. Otherwise, here you go back to the beginning of the lesson 15 list. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Let's take a second look at the assignments here. Okay, now you really only have one major reading, and then you have your assignment. It would be in your best interest to do all of these problems here as a minimum. Okay, I did click on that reading here, and again, notice we're going through those different items here, and compound interest is one of those as well. One of the key items is understanding how an exponential graph looks, and so one of the goals of this lesson is to become very, very familiar with it, and if you do that, you'll have a whole lot less problems. What your author wants to get from this is notice that if your base is bigger, your graph goes higher, faster. So the blue goes higher, faster. This particular problem, I'm going to have part of a separate video on graphing exponential functions. But notice the graph is going down, so decreasing. Also notice the y-intercept 0, 1. Also notice over here, this is 1/2, 1/3, 1/10, okay? And notice that the shapes here. The important thing to remember is the smaller the base, the closer it gets to the y-axis sooner. Okay, make sure you understand what they're talking about when it talks about flipping over the y-axis. I will do a video on this. I'm going to call it the transformation game with the exponential function, and so be sure to look at that. Okay, this is an example of what I'm talking about, and watch how I do mine, and that will help you. The natural base E is explained here, and that's good reading. You could do some research on Leonhard Euler. That's how you say his last name. And the letter E is attributed to him. Okay, notice this graph looks a lot like the 2 to the x, but it is actually e to the x. So make sure you understand that. Again, we're in the reading here, and this is where it's talking about compound interest formulas. I'm going to derive them, but it really is very, very important that you understand what's going on with the formula and how to put the information in when you're given a particular problem. Okay, so here's a good problem to do when you're done with the reading. See if you can get that answer. And again, don't forget, you could click the video there, and if it doesn't work, go up to your bar at the top of your browser and fix that. It is worth looking at these things because these are good review items, and it helps you to know if you put your mind around the information. And try to keep this in mind. If you don't do the reading and don't think about it, it's just going to be very frustrating to you. So do put some time into it. Again, in your assignment here, starting off with some very basic problems, please substitute these values in for the x. So for example, f of 0 is 3 to the 0, which is 1, and so forth. Again, the assignment's not too bad, but you need to spend some time with it. And here they're asking you to sketch the graph, and I'll give you some pointers on how to do that. That will help you. Notice these are going to be decreasing functions, and here's some more manipulation of the function. So watch how I do that. Now these word problems are very helpful if you take the time, and this is what I would do. I would read the problem, I'd write the formula, then I'd substitute the values in, then I'd try to find the answer with my calculator and see if I got the right answer. That would be my advice on that. A lot of good problems, some of them are pretty easy, some of them are going to challenge you a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with a little challenge. A lot of you guys have made some really good comments on the discussion board about meeting the challenges. This is called logistic growth, which is a really neat problem function, but notice the E is in the denominator, so you're going to have to make sure that you use parentheses correctly when you put that in your calculator. In this particular reading, the author is trying to point out to you that you know how to do numbers to integer powers. You know how to do numbers to fractional powers. But we never really talked about the possibility that you can do a base to a decimal number. And watch my video on that, and I'll try to explain that to you. Now, this particular reading describes for you the basic idea of graphing a exponential function. Like here's one, f of x is equal to 2 to the x. I will do a thorough video on that, so that may help you. Okay, let me point out a couple things here. On the Khan Academy video, this particular one, it is a very well done video, and I urge you to watch it thoroughly. This is a good little lesson on solving exponential equations. I will, in my introduction video, just point out the different types, and then I'll do a video on that as well to help you. Now over here on this video, this is a very good video, but it uses logarithms, and you may not be familiar with that. So if you get stuck on that, don't worry about it right now. We'll pick up on these ideas in 15.2. And then this section here about exponential growth and decay, growth like bacteria growth or rabbit population growth, and decay like half-life, okay? Or maybe disease cells in your body you're trying to get rid of. So those are the very practical, pervasive ideas in our culture, and exponential growth and decay modeling and understanding how to work problems is very important. Like I said, compound interest, I'll do a little explanation on the introduction video where you could see the actual formula and you understand the idea, and then we're going to do a separate video on that. This is a great video on compound interest. Sal Khan really does a good job of generating interest. I'm sorry, that's a little pun, okay? But he really does a good job with that. And don't forget your quiz 15.1, and then remember your discussion post when you're done. You could start doing that on 15 at the end of 15.2 if you want to, or you could wait till the end, which is fine as well. So hope that helps you out. That is an overview of 15.1, the exponential part of exponential and logarithmic functions. Watch the videos and that will help you.